Hello everyone, this is Professor Harshada Raite and today we are going to see the most important act, the Information Technology Act 2000. Before proceeding, we must understand what actually the Information Technology Act is. The Information Technology Act is also known as the ITA 2000 or the IT Act, is an act of the Indian Parliament number 21 of 2000 notified on 17th October 2000. It is the primary law in India dealing with cybercrime and electronic commerce. The bill was passed in the budget session of 2000 and signed by President K.R. Narayanan on 9th May 2000. The bill was finalized by a group of officials headed by then Minister of Information Technology Pramod Mahajan. Let us see evolution, genesis and necessity of IT Act. The original Act contained 94 sections divided into 13 chapters and 4 schedules. The laws apply to the whole of India. If a crime involves a computer or network located in India, persons of other nationalities can also be indicated under this law. The Act provides a legal framework for electronic governance by giving recognition to electronic records and digital signatures. It also defines cyber crimes and prescribes penalties for them. The Act directed the formation of a controller of certifying authorities to regulate the issuance of digital signatures. It also established a cyber appellate tribunal to resolve disputes arising from this new law. The Act also amended various sections of the Indian Penal Code 1860, the Indian Evidence Act 1872, the Bankers Book Evidence Act 1891 and the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934 to make them compliant with the new technologies. Let us now see some silent features of the Information Technology Act. Digital signature has been replaced with the electronic signature to make it a more technology neutral act. Another feature is that it elaborates on offences, penalties and breaches. Another silent feature of the Information Technology Act is that it outlines the justice dispensation systems for cyber crimes. The Information Technology Act is based on the Indian Penal Code 1860, the Indian Evidence Act 1872, the Bankers Book Evidence Act 1891 and the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934, etc. It adds a provision to Section 81 which states that the provisions of the Act shall have overriding effect. The provision states that nothing contained in the Act shall restrict any person from exercising any right conferred under the Copyrights Act 1957. Another silent feature is that the Information Technology Act defines in a new section that the cyber cafe is any facility from where the access to the internet is offered by any person in the ordinary course of the business to the members of the public. It also provides for the constitution of the Cyber Regulations Advisory Committee. Now let us see various authorities under IT Act and their power. The various authorities of certifying controller is defined in various sections. Under that, the first section is section 17. Section 17 states the appointment of controller and other officers. The central government may appoint a controller of certifying authorities after notifying in the official gazette. They may also appoint deputy controllers and assistant controller as it deems fit. The controller discharges his responsibilities subject to the general control and also directions of the central government. The deputy controllers and assistant controllers shall perform the functions assigned to them by the controllers under the general superintendents and also control of the controller. The qualification, experience and terms and conditions of service of controller, deputy controllers and assistant controllers shall be such as may be prescribed by the central government. The head office and branch office of the controller shall be at such places as the central government may specify, and these may be established as such places as central government may think fit. There shall be a seal of the office of the controller. Now, the next section, the section 18, defines the functions of controller. Under that, let us the first function of the controller. The first function of the controller is to supervise the activities of certifying authorities and also certify their public keys. Another function of controller is to lay down the standards that certifying authority follows. And some of the sub-functions are as follows. First, specifying the qualification and also experience requirement of the employee of all the certifying authority. Specifying conditions that the certifying authorities must follow for conducting business. To specify the content of the printed, written and also visual materials and advertisements in respect of the digital signature and the public key. Next is to specify the form and the content of a digital signature, certificate and the key. Next function of the controller is to specify form and manner in which the certifying authorities maintain accounts and to specify terms and conditions for the appointments of auditors and their remuneration. Another functions under section 18 are to facilitate the certifying authority to establish an electronic system either solely or jointly with other certifying authorities and its regulation. One of the functions is to specify the manner in which certifying authority deals with the subscribers and resolve any conflict of interest between the certifying authorities and the subscribers. One of the functions of the controller is to lay down the duties of certifying authority and maintain a database containing the disclosure record of every certifying authority with all the details as per regulations. Further, this database is accessible to the public. Next section, section 19, states recognition of foreign certifying authority. A controller has the right to recognize any foreign certifying authority as a certifying authority for the purpose of the IT Act 2000. While this is a subject to the condition and restrictions which the regulations specify, the controller can recognize it with the previous approval of the central government and notify into an official gazette. If a controller recognizes a certifying authority under subsection 1, then its digital signature certificate is also valid for the purpose of the Act. If the controller feels that any certifying authority has contravened any conditions or restrictions of recognition under subsection 1, then he can revoke the recognition. However, he needs to record the reason in writing and notify in the official gazette. Authorities under IT Act and their powers under section 21 is license to issue digital signature certificate. Under this section, subject to the provisions of subsection 2, any person can apply to the controller for a license to issue digital signature certificate. A controller can issue a license under subsection 1 only if the applicant fulfills all the requirements. The central government specifies requirement with respect to qualification, expertise, manpower, financial resources and also infrastructure facilities for issuance of digital signature certificates. A license granted under section is valid for the period that central government specifies. No transferable or inheritable, subject to the terms and conditions that regularly specify. Under section 20, controller to act as a repository. So under this section, the controller will make use of secure hardware, software and also procedures. Controller will observe the standards that central government prescribes to ensure the secrecy and also security of digital signatures. The controllers will maintain a computerized database of all the public keys. Further, he must ensure that the public keys and the database are available to any member of the public. Under section 28 defines the power to investigate contraventions of the under the IT Act and their powers. So under section 28, the controller or any other officer that he authorizes will investigate any contravention of the provisions, rules or regulations of the Act. The controller or any other officer that he authorizes will also exercise the powers conferred on income tax authorities under chapter 13 of the Income Tax Act 1961. Also, the exercise of powers will be limited according to the Act. Now, we are going to focus on the penalties and offences under the Information Technology Act 2000. So, section 43 says where a person without the permissions of owner or any other person in charge damage the computer or computer system or computer network, he shall be liable for penalty and compensation to such person so affected. Section 44, where a person fails to furnish any document, written report to the controller or certifying authority, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 1,50,000 per failure. Further, under section 44, where a person fails to furnish any information, books or other documents within time specified, then he shall be liable to pay penalties up to rupees 5,000 per day. Further, provided that where a person fails to maintain books of accounts or other records, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 10,000 per day. Penalties and offences will continue. Now it comes the section 65. A person tamper, conceal, destroy or alter any computer source document intentionally, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 2 lakhs or imprisonment up to 3 years or both. Section 66A, under penalties and offences, says that any person dishonestly or fraudulently does any act as referred in section 43, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 5 lakh or imprisonment up to 3 years or both. Section 66B, any person dishonestly or fraudulently receives or retains any stolen computer, resource or communication device, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 1 lakh or imprisonment up to 3 years or both. Section 66C states that any person dishonestly or fraudulently make use of electronic signature, password or any other unique identification feature of any other person, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 1 lakh or imprisonment up to 3 years or both. Section 66D, any person dishonestly or fraudulently by means of any communication device or computer resource cheat by personating, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 1 lakh or imprisonment up to 3 years or both. Then comes the section 66A, which states that any person intentionally captures, publishes or transmits image of private area of any person without consent, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 2 lakh or imprisonment up to 3 years or both. Continuing with the penalties and offences, we are going to see section 66F, which states that any person does any act electronically or with use of the computer with intent to threaten unity, integrity, security or sovereignty of India, then he shall punished for cyber terrorism. Next section, section 67, states that any person publishes or transmits in electronic form any material which applies to prudent interest, or if its effect is such as to tend to deprave and corrupt persons who are likely to read, see or hear matter contained in it, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 5 lakh or imprisonment up to 3 years or both. And in the event of second or subsequent conviction, he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 10 lakhs or imprisonment up to 5 years or both. Next section we'll see section 68, which defines or states that the controller may by order direct a certifying authority or any employee of such authority to take such measures or cease carrying on such activities as specified in order if those are necessary to ensure compliances with the provision of this act, rules or any regulations made thereunder, and if any person who intentionally or knowingly fails to comply with the order, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 1 lakh or imprisonment up to 2 years or both. Next section, section 69, where the central government or a state government or any of its officer specifically authorized by the central government or the state government, as the case may be, in this behalf may, if satisfied that it is necessary or expedient so to do in the interest of sovereignty or integrity of India, defense of India, security of state, friendly relations with foreign states, or public order, or for preventing incitement to the commission of any cognizable offence relating to above or for investigation of any offence, it may with reasons to be recorded in writing by order direct any agency of the appropriate government to intercept, monitor or decrypt or cause to be intercepted or monitored or decrypted any information generated, transmitted, received or stored in any computer resources. Any person who fails to comply with the order, then he shall be liable to imprisonment of 7 years along with the fine. Amount of fine is not specified in the Act. Next, under section 70, the penalties and offences discussed are as follows. Section 70 says that the appropriate government may, by notification in the official gazette, declare any computer resource which directly or indirectly affect the facility of critical information infrastructure to be protected system. Any person who fails to comply with the notification, then he shall be liable to imprisonment of 10 years along with the fine amount which is not specified in this Act. Section 71 states that whoever makes any misrepresentation to or suppresses any material fact from the controller or the certifying authority for obtaining any license or electronic signature certificate, as the case may be, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 1 lakh or imprisonment up to 2 years or both. Next, section 72 state that if any person who has secured access to any electronic record, book, register, correspondence information, document, or other material without the consent of the person concerned discloses such electronic record, book, register, correspondence, information, document, or other material to any other person, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 1 lakh or imprisonment up to 2 years or both. Next is section 72A, which states that if any person who has secured access to any material containing personal information about another person with the intent to cause or knowing that he is likely to cause wrongful loss or wrongful gain discloses without the consent of the person concerned or in breach of a law contract, then he shall be liable to penalty up to rupees 5 lakh or imprisonment up to 3 years or both. Section 74. If any person knowingly creates, publishes, or otherwise makes available electronic signature certificate for any fraudulent or unlawful purpose, then he shall be liable to pay penalty up to rupees 1 lakh or imprisonment up to 2 years or both. Section 75 states that if any person have committed any offence or contravention committed outside India, and if the act or conduct constituting the offence or contravention involves a computer system or computer network located in India, then the provisions of this act shall apply also to any offence or contravention committed outside India by any person irrespective of his nationality. Section 76. Any computer system, floppies, compact discs, tape drives, or any other accessories related thereto, in respect of which any provisions of this Act, rules, orders, or regulations made thereunder has been or is been contravened, shall be liable to confiscation. However, if it is proved that such resources were not used in committing fraud, then only person is default will be arrested. With this, we end with the penalties and start with the amendments. There are various amendments which has been declared under the IT Information Act 2000. The first amendment we will discuss is the first schedule contains the amendment in the penal code. It has widened the scope of term document to bring within its ambit electronic documents. The second schedule deals with amendments to the Indian Evidence Act, which pretends to the inclusion of electronic documents in the definition of evidence. The third schedule amends the Bankers Books Evidence Act. These amendments bring about change in the definition of banker's book. It includes printouts of data stored in the floppy, disk, tape, or any other form of electromagnetic data storage device. Similar change has been brought about in the expressions certified copy to include such printouts within its purview. And the fourth schedule amends the Reserve Bank of India Act. It pertains to regulations of fund transfer through electronic means between the banks or between the banks, within the banks and the other financial institutes. The major amendment was made in 2008. The amendment introduced the section 66A, which penalized sending of offensive messages. It also introduced Section 69, which gave authorities the power of interceptions or monitoring or decryption of any information through any computer resources. It also introduced penalties for child porn, cyber terrorism, and voyeurism. Amendment was passed on 22nd December 2008 without any debate in Lok Sabha. The next day, it was passed by Rajya Sabha and it was signed by then President Pratibha Patil on 5th February 2009. Thank you so much.